Hello everyone. In this session, let us discuss what is the need for training and development, types of training procedures, and leadership styles. So before going to proceed the topic, let me let me tell what is training. So why we need training in the companies or organization. So here, uh, see here, the need for training and development in the organization. So a training program allows you to strengthen those skills that each employee needs to improve. So the training allows a person to improve his skills. Already the person is going to possess some skills, even though with some qualified test only he is going to selected in the company. But even though he has to undergo some training related to the organization work. So here this training program allows the persons to strengthen their skills that each employee needs to improve. And development program brings all the employees to a higher level so that they have similar skills and knowledge, and this helps reduce any weak links within the company. So who rely heavily on others, they need not to undergo these development programs and training programs. The person who are weak in particular section can improve their skills. This, they doesn't need to depend on others on basic works, not to complete the company task. So other than this, here the training enables the training enables the training enables a new employee the training enables a new employee to acquire the necessary knowledge and skill in the concerned organization. Training is given to various persons to increase the production and to increase the efficiency for his specialization, to improve the quality, and also in order to raise the economy and also for safety issues, the training is going to given. So here in this training, the training can be given on the following types: apprentice training as well as on-job training. So apprentice training here is next after training, after satisfaction of the training program, the person is going to undergo some performance test, and if he is good, if the company feels that the person is right for doing well, then he is going to place in the actual work performance. And let us see what are the different types of training procedures. So here we are going to have different types. Orientation program, where it is the most common type of employee training. So orientation is nothing but regarding the introduction of the company. Since the person is new, since the employee is new to the enterprise or organization, in this training he can able to learn all the things of the company from basics regarding staff, regarding company tools, machines, regarding rules and regulations. Like orientation is nothing but introduction of the given work and also the enterprise. And next, onboard training. And after this, we are going to have technical skills development training, soft skills development training, products and services training, mandatory training, which is nothing but here, which mandatory training is nothing but which is essential for performing the work in the duty. And next one, e-learning tuition reimbursement. E-learning is nothing but where we are going to learn through by internet means. E-learning can also have some without any payment of fees. With that also it can helpful for performance. And next here regarding technical skills as well as soft skills. here in this technical skills, the training is given on the what is going to do where the technical skills are going to use in the work. So based upon that, he is going to undergo some training. And regarding soft skills, regarding soft, he is going to give the training regarding the communication basis, how to improve the skills, how to convey, how to improve the soft skills regarding how to express their views and ideas, like that. So not only this, other than this, they are also going to give the training regarding products and services. So uh, products and services is the organization which is going to produce the products or services. Based upon that also, they are going to give the training. So what type of product they are going to give, what is the condition of the product, what are the qualities they have to improve, and what services they have to provide, that like the different issues they are going to give the training. And e-learning tuition reimbursement here, uh, here e-learning is nothing but it can help someone because you believe, generally they believe in their skills and their ability to do a job well. That doesn't mean however that they are all the skills you're looking for, or they should never advance their existing skills. Today's workforce expects more from their job than just a paycheck. They want opportunities to learn, grow, and advance. They want to build a career. Employers who can provide these development opportunities can attract top talent and build more loyalty with their workforce. For this, they are going to e-learning makes employee development easier and more convenient. So this e-learning makes the employee development easier as well as more convenient. So that professional development is still an investment, but it's easier and cheaper than it was in the past with e-learning. Instead of requiring employees to attend a meeting at the same time and paying someone to come and teach on a specific topic, employees can do self-paced online courses. So this reduces somewhat payment of the tutor. So employees are more likely to be engaged with the courses if they can fit them around their own schedules. So the workday can be unpredictable, and they are able to squeeze a lesson in during some downtime. It's much better for productivity than everyone stopping work at once. It's possible for development to take place without a huge investment and without leaving the office for a class or conference. So this e-learning tuition reimbursement is going to save the time. So here, in past, they used to give the training by recruiting some person, and at some specified time, he is going to give the training by stopping the work of all the employees. So here, by implementing this type of training, there is no need to stop the work, and there is no need to waste the time. So the person who is going to do this, who want to do the training, he can fix some schedule at any time through online mode, so that he can able to increase his potential towards the company. So it is very convenient for the organization as well as the employee. So there is no need to leave the office for a class. There is no need to leave the office for a conference or trading program. So with huge investment, here there is no investment for this type of training, and it can build the personalized. It can also build the person's skills and also motivate the employees and learn the leadership techniques. So this is very important among all the trainings here. Nowadays, you this corona in this corona all the pandemic situation, COVID-19, all are going to undergo some training somehow to utilize the time. So it is going to save the time. And coming to the next topic, leadership. So before going to know the leadership, let me tell who is the leader? Actually, this leader is a person. Actually, he is a person who possesses, who is very effective. Leader is a person who is very effective in his functions of directing and controlling. He must possess some qualities. So the leader must, for example, if you select any person as a leader, he must possess some knowledge. Compared to other person, he must possess some extra knowledge that other people. And also he should be courage. He should have some willpower, and he should have some decisiveness. Spontaneously, he has to take decisions in some crucial times. He can possess some good technical skills. He has the faith and intelligence. He should possess some communication skills. He has the skill to motivate his coordinates, subordinates, and the people around him. He should possess the foresightedness and also persuasiveness. So, intelligence, stability, flexibility, faith, integrity. All these are the qualities must be there in a leader. So, without this, he cannot able to move or control his coordinates. Unless the manager possesses the leadership qualities, he would not prove himself to be a successful manager. Leadership comes from the word lead, which means to be in advance and to guide, govern, and command others. It also means to head an organization. The leadership is an abstract quality in a human being which would enable others around him to listen and follow his instructions. To a certain extent, this is an inherent quality. In some situations, it is not even inherent. Some persons possess the leadership qualities by birth, but some persons will possess these qualities after some gradual practice, some not only practice, inhibition. Next, here, by birth, these qualities are going to be possessed by a person. And leader requires willing followers. Without followers, there is no existence of a leader. The success of the organization depends on the quality of ability of the leaders. Leaders are born but not made. This is actually right statement. Most probably these leaders are not made. These qualities are inherent by birth itself. Leadership is also the ability to build up confidence and zeal among the followers and to create enthusiasm in them to be led. So leader will differ from the manager. Manager is a qualified person who may be working for his targets to be achieved. And leader will be a person among the employees who will be influencing his follower. So here the leader in the and among this, other than this, according to our scientists Kuntz and O'Donnell, leadership can be defined. So it's generally defined as the influence, the art of process of influencing people so that they will strive willingly towards the achievement of group goals. So a leader is one who guides and directs the other people. So other than this, here we are going to have some different styles. So other than this, here, let me tell what are the different leader functions. Taking initiative. Taking initiative means he has to, if you want to start a work, he has to be first at among all the followers. And he has to guide, means he has to instruct his people. And he has to represent any problem if the group is facing any problem or in order to share any ideas or innovation. He has the capacity to represent, and he has to encourage the others even in the times of difficulties. Arbitrary arbiter as well as mediator. He has to act as a mediator between his people as well as the top management. And he must be a planner, and he must be an administration of rewards as well as punishment. So administrator of rewards and punishments means according to that how he can able to tackle the difficulty situations and how he can bear the promotions or demotions by the organization. And here coming to the types of leaderships, we are going to have three basic styles of leaderships. They are decision making. Decision making means here authoritarian. Authoritarian, or we can also name it as autocratic leadership. Okay, and next one, uh, here totally we have authoritarian, democratic, laissez-faire. So totally we have three types: authoritarian, democratic, laissez-faire. Democratic can also be known as participative leadership. Laissez-faire can also be known as free reign leadership. So autocratic leadership, in this the leader makes all the decisions and demands obedience from the people he supervises. So he feels that he is the boss, and he feels that the people are lazy and avoid work. So all the policies are determined by the leader without consulting the subordinates. So that type of leadership can be known as authoritarian. He single himself act as an authority. He has a sole authority among the group. So here's in this type of leadership, they are going to have some advantage. The decisions can be taken very quickly. Why? Because there is no need to consult his subordinates while taking the decision. And some people who simply work for fear of punishment remain disciplined and devoted toward the task given to them. So here, democratic. Another one is democratic. Democratic type of leadership. In this type, the leader discusses and consults his subordinates. He draws ideas from them, supervises, and let them help set policy. So a democratic leader promotes participation of subordinates and develop strong teamwork. So here, this leadership works well if the subordinates also feel their responsibility, tend to be reasonable, and do not take undue advantage of the democratic leadership. And next one, our last type is laissez-faire, laissez-faire leadership. So here in this, the leader acts as an information center and exercises minimum of control. The leader depends upon subordinate sense of responsibility and good judgment to get the work done. There is a complete freedom of group of individual decisions with a minimum of leader participation. So here in this leadership, it can work only if the subordinates are highly educated, brilliant, and they possess good sense of responsibility. Why? Because in here in this case, there is a minimum participation, minimum discussion, minimum participation between the leadership as well as his leader as well as his subordinates. So it can reduce the time, and also most probably since they are going to reduce the discussion, here they are going to consider the subordinates. Here in this type of leadership, the subordinates must be highly educated, brilliant. Such people can be able to take good decisions. So no need to consult his leader while taking the decision. So here this type of leadership is known as laissez-faire leadership. And with next here, other than this, here some we are going to have some theories regarding this leadership theories, traits theory and behavioral theory. So So with this, I'm going to stop my section. And coming section, I'm going to discuss regarding Workmen Compensation Act and Industrial Dispute Act.